Picture this. It's the quiet, absolute stillness of an ancient morning. The night has just passed, and Dhananjaya, who many of you might know as Arjuna, is standing with his brothers to pay quiet, respectful homage to Yudhishthira the Just. It's this incredibly intimate, grounded moment of family and duty. But then, literally, in the blink of an eye, the earth-shattering power of the cosmos rips right through that morning's silence. Welcome to this explainer. Today we're unpacking a highly descriptive, honestly cinematic scene from the ancient text of the Mahabharata. We're going to explore a moment where the veil between the human and the divine gets completely torn away, look at how these characters react to a massive macro spectacle, and ultimately discover what this specific passage promises to give directly back to you, the reader. It is an amazing journey from the physical senses to deep spiritual promises, all wrapped up in a single sequence.
Okay, let's jump right into part 1, the celestial arrival.
Let's dive into this, starting with that sudden, violent shattering of the morning peace. You see, the source text doesn't just tell us the gods have arrived, it forces us to hear it through an overwhelming explosion of sound. Just notice the sensory details here. We transition instantly from quiet homage to mighty, tremendous sounds echoing from the sky. There are musical instruments playing, there's the heavy, mechanical rattling of massive chariot wheels turning through the air, and there's the sharp, ringing toll of bells everywhere. But honestly, perhaps the most unsettling and vivid detail is how nature itself reacts. The text specifically notes that all the beasts of prey and the birds begin emitting separate, distinct, frantic cries. It's a complete sensory overload. Nature is literally panicking at the immense pressure descending from above, signaling that something way beyond the mortal realm is approaching.
And right out of that deafening, chaotic noise emerges the source of the spectacle. The text describes the arrival of Indra, the lord of the celestials, also known as Indra, and believe me, he doesn't arrive quietly. He arrives, quote, ascending a car yoked with steeds, decorated with burnished gold and roaring like clouds. He is absolutely blazing in beauty. And he isn't alone up there. From all sides, hosts of Gandharvas and Apsaras are following him, riding in cars that the text says are resplendent as the sun. We're meant to visualize a sky that has been totally overtaken by burnished gold, roaring thunder, and this blinding sun-like radiance as the king of the immortals descends to meet the Parthas. It is a massive, macro-level cosmic event.
Which brings us to section 2, a humble reunion.
Now, as soon as this massive, sky-spanning procession actually lands, the text executes a brilliant shift. We move from the grand, roaring skies right back down to the dusty earth, zoning in on a deeply personal human element. And this brilliantly illustrates the stark visual juxtaposition that the author wants us to hold in our minds. On one hand, we have Indra. His divine majesty is undeniable. He's the lord of the celestials, blazing in beauty, literally referred to as he of 1,000 eyes. He's the absolute zenith of power and wealth. But on the other side, we have the human hero, Dhananjaya. Despite possessing incredible prowess, he stands before this god with clotted hair, bearing ascetic merit, and standing in a totally humble guise, exactly like a servant. The visual contrast is just breathtaking. You've got burnished gold and 1,000 eyes meeting clotted hair and absolute humility. It perfectly shows how earthly prowess bows in the presence of ultimate divine authority.
Let's walk through the intimate, step-by-step choreography of this ancient reunion, because the text lays it out so sequentially. First, he of 1,000 eyes descends from his car. Second, as soon as Yudhishthira the Just sees him, he and his brothers immediately approach the graceful king of immortals to worship him duly, respecting his ordinance and his dignity. Third, Dhananjaya bows down and stands before the Lord in that humble, servant-like guise we just talked about. And then comes the fourth step, which is this beautifully quiet, emotional moment. Seeing the sinless Dhananjaya standing there with his ascetic merit and clotted hair, Yudhishthira, the son of Kunti, smells the crown of Dhananjaya's head. In ancient texts, this is a profound gesture of deep familial love and blessing. The text actually tells us that beholding Falguna in this attitude made Yudhishthira exceedingly glad, and that by worshiping the king of these celestials, Yudhishthira experienced the highest bliss. It's a moment of pure, swirling felicity right in the middle of a cosmic event.
Moving right along to section 3, the divine prophecy. This immense feeling of bliss perfectly sets the stage for the climax of the scene. The powerful god has landed, the humans have shown their absolute reverence, and now the divine actually speaks. So the crucial point here is this direct, heavy blessing. The intelligent lord of the celestials, Purandara, looks directly at the strong-minded monarch Yudhishthira, who is just swimming in felicity at this point, and delivers a dramatic prophecy. Thou shalt rule the earth, O Pandava, blessed be thou.
It's a moment of supreme validation straight from the heavens. But it's not just a blank check. It comes with a specific, immediate instruction. Indra tells Kunti's son to, quote, again repair unto Kamyaka. So he provides this ultimate promise of earthly rule, but immediately directs their very next step on the physical journey.
And finally, Section 4, the reader's reward.
Now, if the text stopped right there, we'd have a perfectly complete narrative scene. A god arrives, blesses a king, gives a command, boom, done. But here is where this explainer takes a really fascinating turn. The ancient text suddenly zooms out, breaks the fourth wall, and makes a direct promise to us, the audience. To understand what's happening here, we need to look at the concept of phala shruti. This is a powerful tradition in ancient Indian literature. It's the moment a text concludes a section by explicitly stating the fruits of listening. It literally outlines the tangible rewards gained by the reader or the listener just for engaging with the story. The text shifts from being a historical or mythological narrative into an actual transactional tool for your own spiritual and earthly benefit.
Now, what's really interesting about this is the specific conditions and the massive payoff detailed in our source text. It doesn't just say, hey, read this and you'll feel good. It lays out strict requirements. It says that a learned man must spend a year leading a brahmacharya mode of life, meaning a life of celibacy and focused study. He must subdue his senses, observe vows, and crucially, peruse this specific story, this meeting of Sakra with the Pandavas, with rapt attention. If you meet those intense discipline criteria, the text guarantees an absolutely incredible reward. You will live 100 years free from disturbances, enjoying happiness. The author is literally telling us that the very act of reading this specific divine encounter, if done with total focus and discipline, transfers the blessings of the gods directly off the page and into your actual life.
Let's move to our final thought and see how this builds a bridge to our own lives today. This source text explicitly demands rapt attention and a subduing of the senses to unlock a century of happiness. It treats the act of reading not as some casual entertainment, but as a deeply focused, transformative discipline. In our current era of endless scrolling, constant notifications, and rapid-fire skimming, that kind of hyper-focused attention is incredibly rare, isn't it? It really makes you wonder, if an ancient text promises a century of undisturbed happiness as the ultimate reward for unbroken focus, what profound modern wisdom, what deep understandings are we entirely missing out on simply because we've forgotten how to pay rapt attention? Take that thought with you today, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.